Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be pondering this concept that what if life truly is a mirror? What does that mean? And what is the purpose of that? Anna Murphy's with Winter House Counseling. Thank you so much for joining on YouTube and or the podcast platform. We're gonna jump right into it and really discuss this concept that Louise Hay, who is a multi-million dollar author, motivational speaker, I believe that she coined that term, mirror work. I actually do have her book, Mirror Work by Louise Hay, which was really essential to changing the way that life was being mirrored back to me based on the blueprint that essentially was creating my past self. So the beautiful thing about the blueprint that each one of us creates throughout their life, and now science tells us that individuals between the ages of 0 to 7 are the most susceptible to what that blueprint is through core beliefs that they acquire, attachment style. So attachment style is, yes, one of the biggest key factors, and your core beliefs that you acquire. Those will be the main ingredients of what your blueprint is. And the concept that life will be mirroring your blueprint purely for the reason to allow you to have an awareness of what is going on inside of you. So many times we think that a challenging situation is happening to us, but it's actually happening for us. There is a prompt there, a catalyst to essentially healing that misguided part of our blueprints, and people and or situations will trigger our little thorns, essentially, as Michael Singer calls them in his book, The Untethered Soul. So if you think of your blueprint, your nervous system, as sort of a rose flower, but like a rose bush, all the little thorns as the flower is growing, so as the essence of who you are, your core beliefs, the neurosynapses that create your nervous system, and the neurosynapses carry messengers via chemicals, norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, cortisol, depending on what the message acquired is, you're going to have the corresponding neurotransmitter released. So if you grew up absorbing anxiety from your primary caregivers and or your immediate environment around you, the chances that your body will be releasing cortisol is quite high, as opposed to if you grew up in a loving environment, you were told how special, how precious you are, and you had a chance to cultivate a positive self-view and a secure attachment, then you would release different neurotransmitters, feel-good ones such as dopamine, oxytocin. These are the feel-good chemicals that allow one to feel safe within themselves. So we're thinking of this neurological pathways sort of like growing in our body, right? Like synapses are created as we are also growing, and they grow, much like a rose bush, right? It starts from the ground, the seeds are planted, and then those grow. We have little thorns on the rose bush. So do we as humans. There will be little thorns essentially embedded in our nervous system, our automatic nervous system. So the key word here is automatic. It's automatic autonomic. 95% of our absorbed awareness runs us subconsciously. We're not even aware of it until we feel a certain type of way from a person and or situation. That's when we know what thorn, if there's any thorn, has been prickled. So if you have a prickle of, you feel disrespected through an interaction that you have had with someone, I feel in the therapeutic world, what would be helpful then to work through would be when's the first time that you ever felt that feeling of disrespect? Because everything is a learned emotion. Babies are not born with feeling disrespectful. That's why they have no filter in crying out for their needs. And second of all, you can go into more somatically based therapeutic approach to see where does that live in your body, that disrespect. Like, for example, if you were to ask me about shame lived and still lives. There's still some part of it left. It's like just under my belly button. It lives there. And it takes up a lot of space, and its messaging is, I'm a bad kid. So that is completely present for me. So if someone arises shame from me, then it's a clear indication of me that I am sort of recapitulating the same pattern. And essentially, instead of hating on that person or having negative feelings about that person, of course, it never feels good when someone prickles my thorn of shame and or disrespect. But if we go with the notion, and now this, I don't want to say belief, it's almost like a way of looking at life that is most serving, that life is a mirror, then my job is to see, where have I learned? When's the first time that I felt disrespect? When's the first time that I felt shame? When's the first time that I felt the thoughts behind the emotions, like I am a bad kid, or whatever comes with the feeling of disrespect? What thought is there? Where did you first learn that? Where does it live in your body? And then where are you still doing that, if at all, in your own life? Are there areas in your life that you are disrespecting your own self? Whether it is not having clear boundaries, allowing people to cross your boundaries, not knowing what boundaries are, disrespecting yourself in how you numb, if you numb difficult emotions. Do you disrespect yourself by staying in situations that are not serving you and you are being mistreated, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, an employment place? What areas in your life do you feel that this person may be mirroring back to you for your own growth? And then same, I guess, with the shame, or if you feel, if someone is talking about something that they have or something that they do, whether it is a physical object or something that they have in a relationship, and then there's a feeling of, well, I can say for myself, if I felt envious, or I don't like to use the word jealous, I think the more appropriate word is envious, because, and it's not a bad thing, like it's automatic because it comes from a state of lack. Like, so if I'm noticing that somebody has, I don't know, it doesn't really matter to me anymore, but let's just say they have material things like a lot of clothes that are name brand, and then where does my lack come from, and what am I being envious of in that moment? Like, where do I have a lack of money? Do I feel like if I had that, that would make me happier, better, more deserving? Like, what would it mean for me to be able to also have those expensive clothes? And then if I'm witnessing that there's a relationship and I am seeing them be like really romantic with each other, displaying like affection, and it makes me feel envious instead of being able to celebrate them. I feel like that's also a clear indication to me that I have a thorn inside, and that comes from a lack of like, maybe I don't have that in my life. Or maybe this is something that I didn't get a chance to experience in my childhood from my primary caregivers, that like really deep, unconditional, like present love that will hold you through no matter what. So now when I see it in other people, when I didn't have that love cultivated for myself from within, of course I felt envy because there was a lack of self-love within me. Now I don't feel that way because I worked really hard on like really, really loving myself and raising that caliber of, of love that exists from within me for myself. So now when I see other people loving each other in that way, I can celebrate it because I can celebrate myself and the work that I've done. And I know that self-love is the best love that I can gift to myself, because no one can love me outside of the extent that I love myself. So life truly is a mirror. I am going to bring people in that will keep reflecting back the love that I have for myself. And that will go in any scenario in our life. So these people and our situations then that have a tendency to be experienced as difficult, challenging, actually they are a gift to us, and they're here to really challenge us, but not in a bad way, like in a way that promotes self-growth, because at the end of the day, that is the true meaning of life. We are brought here to planet Earth, like Dolores Cannon says, to learn. We learn lessons, and sometimes the learning could be as easy as passing kindergarten class, and other people are here to learn a master's, a PhD, and beyond that. So it depends, what sort of agreement did you make with your soul before you decided to embark on this, dare I say, beautiful journey called life. But I find it for myself when I truly do apply mirror work, and I do see life as a mirror to my inner state of being, to my inner compass, to my inner blueprint, then I have power at all times, because they're not doing anything to me. They're a representation of who I am as a vibrational frequency, because we are all energy. Everything in this universe is energy. Energy is everything. If you were to look at us under a microscope, we are made out of molecules, atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons, constantly vibrating at all times, and everything has a frequency to it. Our emotions have a frequency to it. Our thoughts have a frequency to it. So based on that frequency, that becomes the point of attraction of people and or experiences that we bring in, but they're there for our own growth. So when you feel that tickle, when you feel that thorn, just look into it and see, why is it present? And maybe even go a step further. Am I maybe applying that feeling to myself? Like, am I making myself essentially keep perpetuating this feeling that was learned from the past? And then figuring out, when's the first time you learned that? What was that past experience that taught you that? And then you can work that way to release that uncomfortableness, sometimes simply by just being aware, sometimes by affirming something complete opposite, like I am lovable, I am worthy, I have everything that I need. I am so grateful that I have, I don't know, Old Navy purses. I am so grateful that I have self-love, and like trust and know that if it's meant for you to have, I don't know, the more expensive ones, or it's meant for you to have that love that you always been yearning for, it will happen as long as you want it. But it doesn't come from a place of lack, but it comes from a place of, I've already achieved this for myself. I don't need anything outside of myself. I am fully, solely, full and complete, what are these experiences that make me feel uncomfortable mean to me if I had them? What meaning am I giving that? Take away that meaning. Or if the meaning is, if I had this and this and this, I would be happier. Take that as a measure of, I guess, a measure of the feeling of happiness existing from within you, not being to the highest that it can be, but not through that material thing, but from internally gifting that to you. So I am so happy with myself. I am so happy with where I am in life. I am so happy, just so much gratitude. Happiness is the gratitude for the things that you have right now in this moment and not wishing for anything else. Like Masha Linehan says, creator of DBT, change cannot be created without acceptance. Acceptance of what is our present moment. Everything is a gift. Everything is a lesson. Everything is an opportunity for us to grow. That is the point of life. And if you're ready for this, you can liberate yourself from all the thorns. You can become the untethered soul that Michael Singer describes so very well in his book. And then eventually nothing will really bother you because you will have prickled all of the thorns off. And then even if something happens, instead of waiting for the other person to relieve you from that uncomfortableness, you just know how to do it on your own because you're doing your own mirror work. As always, thank you so much for tuning in with me. Again, this is Anna Morfides, Minding Horse Counseling. Very close to becoming a registered therapeutic counselor. I can't wait for this journey to be, I was going to say over, but this journey to transmute to something different. I'm learning so much, and I'm so grateful to be able to be on a public platform, to be able to share this information with others. That was so liberating and life-changing for me. It literally changed the course of my life to be able to use the experiences that I have with the outside world as a mirror to my blueprint. And then I'm in charge of my blueprint, and I'm changing my blueprint through somatic work, through affirmations, and just releasing the old and replacing it with new things, and recognizing where my lack, if any, for you guys, I know I had many lacks that needed to be replaced with gratitude about what was present, and again, literally changed the course of my life. If you liked anything about this video, or if you're listening on podcasts, I would appreciate a thumbs up, a subscription, comments, drop a heart if you resonate. I'm just so grateful for your interactions, and yeah, until next time.